Well, I would think that if they were honest about it, they'd start a major investigation into the Bidens. It's a very simple answer. They should investigate the Bidens, because how does a company that's newly formed, and all these companies, if you look at, and by the way, likewise, China should start an investigation into the Bidens, because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
So that was President Trump asking another foreign country to dig up dirt on his political opponent, Joe Biden. Out in the open, in front of cameras, telling reporters, China should do an investigation on my political opponent. Oops. Again, he also reiterated his call on Ukraine. And, by the way, several times he asked the Chinese to investigate Biden. There's millions and millions of dollars related to the Bidens in China. So, hey, China, investigation. Now, of course, totally wrong thing to do. You should not be doing that. But he says, hey, man, I'm being investigated for doing essentially the same thing, asking the Ukrainians to investigate Biden. So as long as I'm doing crime, I might as well go for broke and do even more crime. Right, of course. So now, what makes China problematic is right now we're in a trade war with China. Thanks to Donald Trump, thanks to his tariffs. Now, those tariffs are actually doing quite a bit of damage, not only to the U.S. economy, as we know, but it's also doing a lot of damage to the Chinese economy. And so now here's Trump saying, do an investigation on Biden. And just before, by the way, he's supposed to go meet with the Chinese President Xi, to go and discuss trade. And he just says this. It's so obvious. He is doing more and more crime. And he's unabashed about it. So now following this, of course, you had a firestorm of tweets from different legal experts. I'm going to read some of these. Brian Klaas said this is impeachable, and it's no longer just a call or a whistleblower. He's saying it from the White House lawn. He must be removed from office. Trump is tying U.S. foreign policy to his political interests. Again, trade is part of foreign policy as well. Well, it's different, but it's dealing with different countries, so it's foreign policy. So, no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't tie either trade policy or foreign policy into your political ambitions. That is clearly wrong, illegal. I mean, penalty flag on the play here. We're going to have to go back and, impeach them for essentially, is what a lot of these experts are saying. So more. Here's a former federal prosecutor named Joyce Lean said this. Trump just committed a felony violation of law by soliciting something of value in connection with a U.S. election from a foreign government on national TV, and she cites 52 U.S. Code 30121. She then adds, violating the law isn't necessary for impeachment, as impeachment is a political process. Nobody goes to jail after they're impeached, right? It's simply removal from office. It's as Lindsey Graham pointed out, it's for removing the stain. It's for cleansing the office. What in this case would be removing the stain, this giant orange stain from the Oval Office. And she says it isn't necessary for there to be a violation of the law, but it certainly warrants it. Here you have former director of the U.S. Government Office of Government Ethics, Walter Schaub, saying this, quote, the man just renewed his solicitation of a foreign attack on our election and added a second country. This anti-American behavior is not something we can tolerate from a sitting president. His job, his sworn duty, is to defend America, not betray it. Yeah, but again, the number one calculation that goes through Donald Trump's head is, yeah, but how am I going to benefit from this? What do I get out of it? Well, in this case, if China does an investigation into Joe Biden and Ukraine does an investigation into Joe Biden, he's hoping that he will get some sort of dirt like he did with Hillary Clinton that will allow him to win the election, because right now polls show him massively behind. Massively. So now let me go to Attorney Doug McConis, says this: I'll say this much for Trump, unlike Nixon, who committed his crimes behind the scenes, Trump commits his in public while the news cameras are rolling. It certainly does make impeachment pretty easy, doesn't it? I mean, there it is, right there in front of our faces. Really easy, and yet, of course, knowing Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, they'll probably somehow find a way to screw it up. More. Conservative Max Boot. Now, I like to call him Max Bootlicker. But in this case, not so much. He said Democrats should add this to the articles of impeachment. Just because Trump is saying it on camera doesn't change the fact that it's impeachable conduct to demand that a foreign country interfere in our election. Here we go again. Again, this is already the same thing that he is being investigated for. He just did it again. He said, foreign countries, hey, please interfere with our elections. Dig up dirt on my political opponents, please. It's right there. It's right there. Can't get any more obvious. And I know, of course, MAGA guys, look, you can't watch that video and say, oh, yeah, no, what he did, totally fine, 100% above board. Even if you agree that what Hunter Biden and Joe Biden have been doing is corruption, and I believe, I think it is systemic corruption, but it's not, and the nature of systemic corruption is that it's not illegal. Even that, right? Even if you agree that you should have investigations into the Bidens, which we already have, by the way. Hunter Biden was cleared of any sort of wrongdoing. So even if there are investigations, right? Even if you believe it, calling for that investigation as the president of the United States and openly asking for foreign leaders that, by the way, you hold power in the negotiations. Earlier in that clip, one of the parts that wasn't actually in that video that we showed you is Trump boasting that he's got a lot of power when it comes to China. And then immediately says Ukraine should look into Biden. And then, by the way, China should look into Biden as well. I think it's really, really obvious. But MAGA guys, I know. They're going to say fake news. It's a witch hunt. No, this is him. This is his Fifth Avenue moment. He shot someone on Fifth Avenue. Not literally, but politically. He's trying to shoot Joe Biden on Fifth Avenue. So, and he feels either he's untouchable or he's that stupid. He's certainly not stable, not a genius. He's out there committing crimes in broad daylight. Either he's lost his mind, or like I said, he's either incredibly stupid or thinks I can get away with it because I've gotten away with pretty much everything. I've so far gotten away with, everything involved in the Mueller report. Now I'm getting away with everything in Ukraine. Or I think I'm going to get away with everything in Ukraine. Now I'm calling, I called for Russia to find Hillary's emails. Now I'm calling for Ukraine and China to dig up dirt on on Biden and my political opponents. No. This is it. This is it. We got to remove this guy. We can't have this guy anymore. Now, whether it be 25th Amendment or impeachment or whatever, I don't care how he gets removed. He's got to go. Because he's not only corrupt, deeply stupid, but he's also incredibly un-American. He's got to go. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.